My next guest is one of the most controversial figures in recent American history. Kyle Rittenhouse pleaded self-defense when he was charged with murdering two people during the Wisconsin Black Lives Matter riots of 2020. And the jury agreed. For some, Rittenhouse has become a heroic standard-bearer for the Second Amendment and Americans' rights to bear arms. For others, he got off because of privilege. Now, 2 years after his trial ended, he's written a book called Acquitted to tell his side of the story. And he joins me now live from Florida. Kyle Rittenhouse, thank you very much indeed for joining me. First of all, let me just ask you, if you had your time again, would you, age 17, have put an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle around your neck and gone purposefully down to where these protests were happening, knowing what was going to transpire?
Well, Piers, thank you for having me on. With hindsight being 20/20 as it always is, no, I wouldn't have gone, but that doesn't change the fact that I was attacked and I defended myself. I was there to help people and provide first aid, and that's what I did. I'm on video that night providing first aid and helping people, and then being ambushed and cornered and forced to use my rifle to defend myself.
You killed two people and you wounded a third. How do you feel about that?
Well, Piers, they attacked me. They left me with no choice. I have nightmares every night of being attacked and being ambushed and them trying to steal my gun and pointing guns in my face. It's not an easy thing to do, but I did what I had to do to stay alive, and if I didn't, I would be dead.
Yeah, listen, you were acquitted, and many in America believe that you had the absolute right to defend yourself. I'm just curious, on a human level, you know, you're very young even now. What are you, 20 years old now?
Yes, sir.
And you've killed two human beings and wounded a third. I just wonder how that feels.
I don't think that's an appropriate question to ask how it feels. It's not an easy thing to do. It's something I live with every single day. It's nightmares I have. It's something that I have to deal with. I have to deal with the PTSD and the trauma from having to do that.
Right. I mean, but it seems to me your emotions are more about you and your trauma because your life was being threatened and that side of it, rather than the question I'm asking, which is simply on a human level, how do you feel about being so young and yet having on the record for the rest of your life now that you took the lives of two people, regardless of the circumstances?
And like I just said, it's something I deal with every day. I deal with the PTSD and the trauma and the nightmares. It's not easy to deal with it.
Your book, presumably you're going to make money from this book. Do you feel comfortable making money from this, which ultimately is a tragic story? You know, I repeat, you were acquitted. There's no reason you can't do a book. But do you feel comfortable making a lot of money out of essentially what in the end was an incident that cost the lives of other humans?
Well, I'm not writing the book to make money. I'm writing the book to tell the story of what happened. I'm trying to change the narrative that media keeps putting out there that I'm some type of white supremacist, racist person, when that's just not true. I'm a 20-year-old kid who was put in a situation to where I was forced to defend myself, and I'm writing to put that into a book. I wrote a story and put that in a book so I can share that with everybody so they can understand what I went through, how my childhood was growing up, and the difficulties I deal with today. And you can check out the book at rittenhousebook.org if you want to read it and learn the truth for yourself.
How do you feel that you became a hero to many on the far right, kind of made you their poster boy?
Well, Piers, I'm not a hero. I did what I had to do to defend myself. There are countless Americans every day that defend themselves, and it's not a heroic thing to do. It doesn't make you a villain, but it doesn't make you a hero. It's doing the right thing to stay alive. If I didn't defend myself, I wouldn't be here talking today.
You were 17 at the time. You were too young to legally acquire the gun that you used.
That's not true.
It's not true?
That is not true. Wisconsin statute says a person between the ages of 16 and 17 can carry a long rifle with a barrel longer than 16 inches. That's Wisconsin law, and the judge dismissed that charge.
Okay, so you were... So let me ask you, look, I'm in the country right now, and I've talked about this many times, both here and in America, and I've learned Americans want to handle their own gun culture the way they want to handle it. I respect that. But let me ask you, do you think it's right that 17-year-olds in America, in Wisconsin, should be able to carry around semi-automatic rifles like an AR-15?
Our founding fathers were very intentional when they wrote the Constitution. They didn't put an age limit on how old you have to be to exercise the Second Amendment.
But they did say it would be part of a well-regulated militia.
They also didn't put an age in it, and we have the right to bear arms. It's our right as Americans to possess these arms, to carry these firearms, and to use them to protect ourselves.
How do people treat you, Kyle, when you walk around now?
Well, there is some harassment. I'm constantly having photos taken of me. I'm constantly receiving death threats on social media. And it's just something that is part of my life now, having pictures taken of me everywhere I go and the constant harassment and death threats.
Obviously, by doing a book and promoting it in the way that you are on national television around the world, you're going to make yourself even more famous, infamous, whatever you want to call it. Is that something you're aware of, that you're deliberately, consciously doing that?
I'm aware that it's going to bring some more notoriety to my name and make me more known, but I think it's worth that risk to share my story and share what happened, just in the hopes that maybe somebody else who goes through a similar situation or faces other trials in their life, they can read it and they can understand that they're not alone and that this happens to other people with the misjustice that does happen in America.
Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.